Welcome back, you bunch of chicken nuggets. Here we are, video 4, Tri-Z, YZ, 3-wheeler build. Look at this beautiful frame sitting in front of us. Let's get into the video so we can see exactly how to make your frame look like this one. Okay, McNuggets, now we're in our spray booth. So check this out. We got a bunch of different spray guns. We got guns in that corner, all our powders, our hangers, everything, and then we have a few ovens in here. And this is the spray area where the fans take it out into a filter and then bring everything outside. So what we're doing right now is we have the frame in the oven and we try to bring it up to 250, 300 degrees. It's called gassing out. So it burns off all the oils, contaminants, anything on the frame, and there's 2 reasons for this. So one way you can spray this frame is you can spray it cold. So you just hang it up over here, you wipe it down, everything, and you spray it cold, put it in and bake it. Comes out perfectly fine. I like to get a little more into detail with it. So if you bake the frame, you bring it out and you spray in all the backside of the plates, the gussets, around the welds. So these 3-wheeler, 4-wheeler frames, they're very complicated. They have angles and you have to get all the way around every tube at every angle. So it gets kind of difficult. So once you heat the frame up and you spray the welds, so it fills in welds a little bit better. It's like a primer. So I use it as a primer coat is what you want to call it. I get inside the backside of all the brackets, the metals, the gussets, and so on. I put the frame back in the oven, and I'll bake it a little bit longer. I'll hang it, then I'll give the frame a once over. I have the frame, the gooseneck down, back of the frame up. I'll start from the top, come all the way down, and the very last thing I want to do is just give a light coat over the identification numbers. So make sure if you're sending your frame out for powder coat, or if you're going to paint it, or whatever you're going to do, that you write your identification numbers down, because the powder coat's thick and it'll cover over it. So I'm very careful that the very last thing I spray is the numbers of the frame, and I kind of once over just so to give it a light coat and not fill the numbers in. So let's get over to the oven and see what we're working with here. Alright, so here's the oven. These ovens I built myself. I have a few of them. This is our small oven. It perfectly fits a 4-wheeler frame, but we use it for all kinds of stuff. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this thermal gun, and I'm going to go in and I'm going to test the metal. So you spray the red dot right directly on the metal and it tells you. So the outside temperature of this door is 63 degrees. Very well insulated when I built it. And we are going to check the frame. So you can see the frame is hanging, and you can see our burners in the background are hot. So you pick a piece of metal, 272 degrees. So we're ready to pull this frame out of the oven, hang it on our hook, then we're going to turn on our fans to suck all the powder out. We're going to jump on the powder coat gun, I'll move the camera, and we'll give it a quick once over and show you that we're going to get inside the welds and so on, like I said. I use a pair of vice grips or clamps or whatever, lift it up. It's heavy. Gotta be strong, so 2 hands, and you can't touch the frame on yourself because it's hot. So we are going to shut this off, and we are going to turn the fans on. Move this camera. We're going to start with inside these brackets, inside, and we're going to go quickly. Inside the frame rail. Make sure we get a good amount of powder inside all the gusseted areas. This way nothing will rust from behind. The main thing is getting inside in good coverage, inside all the brackets and around the welds. These older 3-wheeler frames, 4-wheeler frames, they are loaded with gussets, which means that's a ton of small areas to not be able to coat well, which creates rust down the road, and you don't want that. But once you get the areas picked out, you got to go from the back side. You got to make sure you got them 360 degrees all the way around. Turn the air pressure up a little bit. careful not to get too heavy in the areas that are threaded. Even though we are going to rerun taps through everything, you just want to make sure you don't have too thick. If you powder coat for a little while, you learn all the speeds, thicknesses, depths. You learn everything over a while of what is a good thickness and what's a good cover coating. Okay, this is an area here where the bracket's open, so you're going to spray up and in the inside to get the complete coverage. That side, when I sprayed it, I need to go through the frame and spray the back side of it now. I feel like I got everything taken care of. And now the very last thing I'm going to do is the gooseneck down here where the VIN numbers are. I don't know if you guys can see that. So the very last thing I'm going to do is down here, I'm just going to give it a light coat so we're not building up over the identification numbers. Now we have our frame coated up pretty well. Now you can do the same thing with spray paint. You just hang it, paint it, do whatever you want. Now that we have it hanging, the frame is still hot. You want to be careful moving this around with two hands that it doesn't touch me because it'll pull the powder off of the frame. So you got to quickly get it back to where it needs to be. Gently. You don't bang the sides of the powder coat oven. You don't touch anything with the frame. You don't touch yourself. So like again, this is heavy. You do it using two hands to try to hold it, so it does take a strong grip. So putting it in the oven is difficult, but you gotta just obviously make sure you don't touch anything. We'll close her up and we'll bake it. See how shiny the frame is. And we are going to shut the oven off. So we'll let it cool down. So this baked, this powder is 390 degrees at 20 minutes, one flow out. So flow out is when it turns from that powder, that dry looking color, it turns to its liquid state, which is the shiny spot. And when it gets to that point, you bake it. Yeah, it's real smoky in here. You bake it for 20 minutes at that point at 390 degrees. So now that's what we did. We're gonna let it cool down. We're gonna pull it out. Once your frame is cooled down, you just pull it out with your hands. And let's see what we have. See, we got it in all the little nooks, the crannies, under around the brackets. And inside all the brackets, the gussets. But I know what you guys really want to see. The whole point of this frame video. The repaired frame rails. So these were the frame rails that were all dented and dinged up. I'm gonna roll it around, let you see if you can find any dents in it. And then down the bottom, where everything was all mangled up and chewed up. And we had the dents of the frame. Nothing. So there you go, guys. There you have it. Tri-Z 250, 1986 frame, completely restored and ready to put the bike back together. That's all. Follow the steps, guys, and that's all you have to do to make this happen. Alright guys, so here we are at the end of the video 4 of the Tri-Z YZ build. So you can see we got our frame powder coated in this video, and we basically are going to roughly stop there. We may throw some paint on the motor, and we may sandblast and powder coat a couple of the other parts that we have sitting in the sandblaster, but mainly for video 5, we're going to move on to this 2014 YZF 250 trike conversion. So, like I said in video 1, I bought the trike like this, and I hated the subframe on it because it used big brackets that stuck out the side to mount a YZF 450 quad subframe onto the dirt bike. So that was horrible. You couldn't ride it, and as you went back, it would just dig into the side of your legs. So I decided that I priorly started building a subframe for this of one of my old Pit Pipe YZF 450 subframes. So I decided I was just going to make that instead of trying to deal with whatever they had going on with their junk brackets. So I don't know what company made those brackets, but man, absolute garbage if you think you're going to ride this thing. So we are going to get into finishing up this subframe, showing you guys what we did and so on. And also I started making airbox. So we are going to fabricate some of the front and back of the airbox. We're going to aluminum weld it and make sure that we can get our intake into it. And we are going to get this more or less set up. So we are going to jump into this one. So if you guys were waiting to see this modern trike build, we're going to get a lot closer and better look at this thing. You know what I'm saying? Ladies, like, subscribe, share. We're trying to grow the content on the channel. We appreciate you guys following everything, and it is growing. So thank you very much. But guys, come on, let's see what we can do for this channel. Because McNasty rules.